Tommy Rex, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host.
The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle, and man, it's always good to catch up with some old friends. I knew him back in the day as Mike the. Oh, wait a minute! I don't know. It's 2026. I don't know if I could call you that anymore. But Michael Couls, man, or AKA Chino Noir, right?
Chino Noir, yes, that's right.
You are, yeah. Nice, man. Yeah. We were talking before we went on, the old nicknames and stuff. But yeah, we're living in a new world, man. So
we are indeed.
Yeah,
I always loved it. To me, it was always, as you as one of my friends knows, it's a term of endearment. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I guess everybody kind of sensitive now. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yeah, and true. We've both evolved as men, and we're going to be talking more like about some of the evolution on this new path that you're on. I really want to get into a lot of that, but when I have people on for the first time, I like to go like way back. So when you were little Mike, do you remember what you originally wanted to be when you grew up?
Well, when I was a little kid?
Yeah.
Motherfucker, I want to be a superhero, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I wanted to be a Jedi. That was my thing.
There you go.
And then, like when like around the house when you were little, like what was like some of the earliest music that you were exposed to?
Well, what's funny, like I didn't particularly come from like a musical household kind of thing, but I remember having like a record player, and I remember one of the first records I had when I was like kindergarten and shit was fucking Thriller, because that's like an ultimate album, you know what I mean? And definitely my mother, who was 100% Vietnamese, she liked the Beatles a lot. She liked like 8 days a week was her jam and shit. And, there'd be some like Vietnamese music and shit. But that's probably some of the earliest shit that I can think of. But kind of like around 8, man, I started to watch. I don't know why, but I was like intrigued by, I would see dudes on TV play the drums. And I was kind of like, why did they cross over? Like that interested me. And I liked music, but around when I was about 8, when Appetite for Destruction came out, I was like, oh shit, what's this? And then I had an older cousin, and he got me into like Injustice for All came out around the same time, about when I was 9, and that pretty much ruined my life from there. You know what I mean? And then I started listening to like Slayer. We play like Hell Awaits, the record backwards. And be like, yo, I heard it say shit. I'm like, no, don't. We played it like Join Us. I'm like, oh shit, it does. And then just got heavier and heavier and heavier, and then just ruined my life progressively.
Nice. Yeah, dude, I remember like for me in high school, like too, like Appetite was one of the ones that grabbed me. In fact, the second tattoo I got when I was in the Navy was Guns N' Roses, it's in there somewhere.
Oh shit.
So yeah, that was like the but for me it was like like I was just telling this story last night, man. My because somebody played Jay Giles' band. I was like, man, this is the first album that I ever got as a kid, Angel in the Centerfold and stuff, and Freeze Frame and all that. And then I remember like my sister was into Rod Stewart and Leif Garrett. And one Christmas, for some reason, somebody got her Kiss Alive. And she was like, ew, what's this? And I'm sitting across the room and I was just like, give it to me, And that was like the beginning, all that, the theatrics and art from that, you know?
That's what started my drummer. I think that's what ruined my drummer's life was Kiss.
Yeah, no shit. And then when like as you said, you know, you kind of got into the heavier music and going from there, but when was it that you felt like hey, I want to start performing and picking up an instrument and playing?
That's interesting. I don't know, when I was about 11, a family friend suggested to my father, they were like, yo, you know, Mike, he likes rock and metal and shit. Maybe guitar would be a good hobby for him. You know what I'm saying? So my father mentioned to me, I was like, oh, fuck, hell yeah. And I remember going to the guitar store and I'm like looking at electrics and flying V's and this and that. This motherfucker getting an acoustic guitar. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? And he was like, yo, and my father was like, you don't know how to play. So if you learn how to play in this, then I'll get you one of those. So I'm like, I bet. Daniel's son, bet. And he was right. Started to play on an acoustic and shit, you know. So I started taking lessons around the time I was 11. I think right when I turned 12, I went to my first show. It was, and this is, this is a wild ass show, especially in Detroit, bro, at that time. But my first show I ever went to was the New Titans on the Block. So it was Sepultura on the Arise album cycle. It was Napalm Death. I don't know if it was Harmony Corruption or Death by Manipulation, somewhere around there. Sacred Reich was still Surf Nicaragua because Independent didn't come out yet. And then Sick of It All opened. And Armand wasn't even playing. It was like We Stand Alone EP or something before Just Look Around came out. And that was my first show, and it was gangster, bro. Like, there at the place was called Todd's. It was on 7 Mile, bro, in Detroit, man. If you're from Detroit, you know what I'm talking about. And there was like no barricade. There was just a bunch of brothers, man. They were all security with this like 250, 300-pound dudes. And they would just, when the crowd would get too much, they would just shove everyone back. And when they lost their temper, they would just start throwing haymakers on the crowd. And like they would settle the crowd. This crowd would get settled down, bro. You know what I mean? And it was wild. But I mean, I remember just seeing that and getting wild-eyed, like, yo, this is the shit. And then around the time I was 13, I started my first group. So me and my first creative partner, his name is Garrett Memring. We grew up in the same town together. And, you know, he was kind of like an older brother figure, but he had like every cassette tape, alphabetical order, every death metal, thrash metal, hardcore, punk. He had, you know what I mean? So it was like an encyclopedia, because there's no internet back then for all you little motherfuckers. And it was like an encyclopedia to go to his crib, like, yo, we pull out whatever tapes we was going to go ride to and jam to. So we formed our first band, and it's funny because we in the process now of talking about putting it out digitally in the Matrix. And I'm still shocked at how many people will come up to me years later, even like young kids. I had some dude from Germany all excited about it the other day, and they'll message me about it. And like, I can't believe how many people that actually heard it. But we were kind of doing like, I watch some of these bands now trying to do like, I don't know what the fuck they call these subgenres, slam core or whatever. But it was like, we was kind of like that, because we were heavy groove, but we're into breakdowns, and Suffocation was our heroes. And we loved death metal, but we weren't totally death metal. We were more thrash, more groove, and had a little hardcore influence. So it was like, we were kind of a convergence, but back then it was a very, like, no one sounded like that back then. And so that was my first group. I was playing shows around the end of me being 13. We started playing our first shows. And I know the first show we played, when we started playing, people started getting wrecked. And I think that ruined my life too, because it was just so exciting. I was like, I love this. You know what I mean? And like, if you fell down, no one's picking you up. They were booting you. And the venue, they shut off the power like 3 times during the set. Like, can you guys please just calm down, please? And then they turned it back on, and we would start again and shit. And so that basically started, that basically started me playing. By the time I was 14, I was playing in Blondies and playing in clubs and shit. And then it just went on and on and on and on. You know what I mean?
Nice. And then, you kind of were talking a little bit about what the scene was like there. When was it because when we met, you were with Cold as Life. Like, when did that come together for you?
So, I mean, that's pretty much like, it's all pretty linear from, my first band. I'm playing, 13, we were in clubs at 14. when I was 15, my father was assassinated, and there's some weird parallels to that, and the dates and the times and the circumstance, as in Ron Beauty's assassination. You know what I mean? My father's funeral was the year anniversary of when he was elected into the UAW, and that was the first year anniversary of Ron's murder. So they were basically almost killed a year and 5 days apart from each other. And it was also someone that was their friend that was afraid of them. That could you like, if you knew both personalities, like you really couldn't fight them. I guess it's the only way to be real and say it. You know, you couldn't fight unless you were Superman or you had an elephant. You couldn't fight them, so motherfuckers get guns. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I related to that a lot, and I remember when the band started back up, and I really respected the fact that they all was going to carry on and everyone was going to sing or whatever. I was a big fan of them as a kid, and seeing their reemergence and everything. And about the time I was 16, I started playing in the band, and you know that shit was wild. I mean, I think I had a driver's license for a couple months. I didn't really realize how young I was back then, and like I was telling this kid yesterday. You know, there's so many things that like being young and playing the band that I thought it was like normal to me that just it ain't normal. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a band, right, and you ain't left the state lines yet, and you got one dude in the back arguing with the dude in the front, and then you know the dude tried to mace the dude, and then the only two dudes who don't get maced are the two dudes arguing, but everyone else in the band getting maced, and you ain't even in Ohio yet. You know what I mean? That was like normal shit, but like that's not normal in any any band that you're in. You know what I mean? So Cold as Life, and when I started traveling and leaving the state at 16, my first show out of town was Chicago. But shortly thereafter, you know, Cleveland's been a regular stop my whole life since then. But definitely that's where we met, man. We go way back, you and I. And I remember playing everywhere, man. We played the original Peabody's, the Grog Shop. What was that joint? Remember that joint that had the pirate ship in there?
Yeah, the Fantasy nightclub. Yeah, dude.
Shit. I remember the original Foundry, you know, the Agora. I mean, I played the big room a couple times, but that little room that I played so many times I can't even fucking count. You know, that the original Foundry, obviously No Class, and back when it was Now That's Class. And I played the outside pavilion thing across from the original Peabody's. There's so many, and the new Peabody's. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Cleveland was basically a regular stop for me my whole life since then, man. And you've probably seen me in every band incarnation that I've been at since. But that's where it definitely started. Was Cold as Life coming out there, and I remember. I don't know if this is the first time we came or not, but I remember coming out there with Hatebreed once. And it was in some magazine. Somebody said, "Yo, Cold as Life takes homeless dudes for their road crew and shit." And basically, we just there's two dudes from the neighborhood by where we rehearsed or wherever that we just took them to load shit. And I think they just seen some, they didn't know how to act or whatever, and they just seen some like beer behind the bar, so they just fucking took the shit. And then, it got brought up to Jamie, and Jamie was just real cool, and Jamie just like paid for it real quietly, didn't say nothing to us or to nobody. But it's like these dudes didn't know how to act. But someone said that about us. Cold as Life takes homeless dudes on the road to fucking Guitar Tech for them.
Damn, yeah, dude. Yeah, I remember, those. I mean, I think that it was one of those shows that you play with Hatebreed, or I think I probably originally met you guys and then brought you guys back for that show one time at it was, I think, Hi-Fi Club before it became the Foundry, or maybe it was Blind Lemon, but that location and stuff. And then I think for the bigger venue, the outdoor one you're talking about, that was probably with when you were with Sworn Enemy then, right?
That was with Terror.
Terror.
That was the Sounds of the Underground tour, and that was actually the first show. That was the first show of the tour. It was a long tour. It was like a 2-month tour, man. It was all of North America, all of Canada, all of America. No Mexico, but all of the United States, all of fucking Canada side to side. So that was a fucking long one. But it started at that one. And I remember across the river, that's where the old Peabodys used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Dude, yeah, I forgot that you did some time with Scott and Terror and the guys too. Yeah, man.
That tour. And you know what? And Sworn Enemy played whatever a different out. I don't know if it was the same one or not. I think the one we Sworn Enemy played on Ozzfest was different, but I remember that setup too. That was obviously an ill fucking show, man. But yeah, a lot of love for Cleveland, man. A lot of love.
Yeah, I remember too. And this is when you were with Sworn Enemy, like hanging out with you guys at one of the venues on the Ozzfest. And this is when I was trying to do like a Domain Cleveland show or something. And I had you and Jimmy LaMarca from Camara. You know, and I was recording you guys trying to just do like a promo for the Domain Cleveland. And I don't know how many takes we had to take, but I got all the bloopers still. I got the video. I got to send it to you.
Oh, I love to see it.
Pretty good stuff, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I love Jimmy and them dudes, man. And I just was talking to Matt the other day, man, because now, you know, I'm on social media now. I never had it my whole life, but I've been about 3 years because I knew I was going to have to promote, you know, my new band. You know what I mean? I know there's no other way or whatever. Make the best use of a bad bargain. I ain't interested in showing you where I'm eating lunch and all that shit. But,
exactly.
So, you know, I started it up and then I bumped into Matt, like, oh shit. And me and Matt were just chit-chatting it up and laughing and talking about all that shit, man. But I guess he's in Florida now because when I come through, I was hoping to see him, but I'm gonna hit up Jimmy, try to twist Jimmy's arm, but we'll see. I know everyone's busy and old and shit, so.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll get Jimmy runs a barber shop now, and I'll get out there and get my hair cut every once in a while, and we'll be talking the old days and shit. And then, you know, they've been doing some new Chimera stuff, which has been cool. But
do the reunions, right? Them Christmas
yeah,
shows?
the reunions have been badass, man. Yeah,
I bet, bro. I bet, man.
And then like talk a little bit about now who came next after Cold as Life? Was it Terror or Sworn Enemy?
When Cold as Life imploded, you know, in I mean, Cold as Life is always explosive and imploding and shit. You know, I mean, now I think things are more stable, and I'm real happy for Jeff and for all the guys and for Craig and everybody, my motherfucking Matt Martin, happy, and hopefully that it continues going smoothly, you know. But when we was all young and wild, I played in the band from 16 till about time I was about 21, and then that time we made both records and probably did the most touring and stuff of you know, in any era of the band back then because we were nuts. But right, like the moment that imploded, we started playing in Sworn Enemy, and Big Dog came with me and Timmy came with me at first, and then they didn't really stick around for it. They just did maybe a couple runs, but then that lasted for me, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And Sworn Enemy, you know, obviously Paulie, man, I love Paulie. I think about him every day, man. I miss him so much, man. And yeah, that's one of my best friends in the world. And but it was always an adventure. I call Sworn Enemy Italian Seinfeld because that's what that shit was like. It was like Italian Seinfeld. You know what I mean? You had Lorenzo Antonucci and Paulie Antoniani and fucking Miguel Raffanello and Salvatore Lococo. And then I'm Mike Couls from Detroit, Vietnamese dude from Detroit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a fun one, man. And I still don't understand how we got signed to a major or how we did Ozzfest and Slipknot and Slayer and all the shit we did. Like, it's just kind of still like, why the fuck? We were just a hardcore band, you know what I mean? But that's what came next, man. And then, yeah, it just went on and on and on and on. I think after that was Marauder and Agents of Man. And then by the time Agents imploded or was done, then I just played for everybody. I don't know, whoever needed a bass player would hit me up at the time, and I just played with everybody, you know.
Well, yeah, I think that the cool thing was even back in the wild days, you know, I mean, and this is me even looking back when I was still, you know, a mess as Dollar Bill and shit. But I remember though, you always had that hustle though. You also had that always kind of had that focus. You had fun, but you knew you were, you know what, you were still goal oriented, future oriented with what you wanted to do in the music. And I think that was definitely to your benefit because people saw you were reliable and could be counted on, and they bring you in, you know, when opportunities are there.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, I always took it very seriously. I mean, I still do. It's all I really ever knew how to do, you know. And I always seen it as kind of like 3 disciplines. You know, you're a you're a performer. You know what I mean? You're kind of like an athlete and a performer. So there's like a physicality to the whole thing. You know what I mean? You're a student and a musician to, you know, the arts and your craft and how to play. And I watch bands and I like, oh, that's dope and that's dope. Or, oh, don't do that. Or, you know what I'm saying, man? There's always something to learn. Even if I don't like a band or whatever, but they have success, they're doing at least something right. There's at least one thing they're doing right. You know what I'm saying? And I don't try not to give no insincere compliments, man. If I'm like, yo, you guys are dope, I like you, I mean that. And if I don't, maybe I'll find something cool. Yo, you're double bass and ill, kid, or yo, I like that. Whatever, that your DJ's fucking sick or whatever. You know what I mean? But I also seen the discipline as like you're like a soldier, because you know you're picking up and you're moving camp. You know, that rock and roll pirate ship. You're going town to town. You got to set up and break down. You don't want to leave shit. You got to be organized, and you got to be on the defensive because you don't want to get robbed. You don't want to get jumped. You don't want to fucking whatever can fucking happen. Break down. You got to keep it moving. You know, and I think there's always kind of some underlying. There's a word for it. I can't remember the word, but it's like the belief that you just got to step and take a foot out, because you just got to take that step out there and know that like things are gonna work out, whatever that it is. Because like if you didn't feel like that, how would anyone in their right mind get in a fucking van, especially the maniacs that I've been in vans with, you know what I mean, and leave their fucking home and just fucking go across the fucking world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you didn't have that belief, so many times things will go wrong and things will get. I'll sound some funny. Like this breakdown story. I remember we was on the Soulfly tour with Sworn Enemy, and that was a long one. That was like 2 months, all of America, all of Canada, and that's probably the most I've ever done of Canada at that point. And I remember we were driving to Seattle. We were like a half hour out from Seattle, in the middle of the mountain somewhere, and we blew a head gasket in the van. And I'm like, fuck. I remember getting so mad. I didn't have no cell phone service. I took a cell phone and I put my cell phone on a rock by like this little stream and brook, and I smashed the shit with a rock or a hammer. Like I just smashed my phone and lost it. And we called that boy Momo. I love Momo. Shout out to Momo, man. You know, he was a part of the kiddie camp and Shadows Fall camp, and he lived out there. So he got a tow truck to come tow the van, and he was able to put our trailer on his truck or whatever and get it back to his crib. We played the show, and then E-Town was on the tour, so that's our homies, man. And they were just like, yo, just jump in the RV with us, bring your guitar and your cymbals or whatever, use our backline. And we left our driver and our merch dude with the van and trailer in Seattle with Momo. So we give him the money, right? Get the thing fixed or whatever. We go off into Canada. We get into Canada, and Soulfly got denied from the border. And we're like, what the fuck? And we're like in the middle, you know, there's no cell phones aren't what they are now back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we just happened to park in front of a 420 Fest. And then we walk out, and there's one of our friends from New York is out there dating a girl. We're like, yo, what the fuck are you doing out here? And then he put us up, and then we were able to find out, okay, they made Soulfly got through. They're going to be in, I can't remember, Regina, Saskatchewan, or whatever. We get on the next thing. We do the next 4 or 5 shows. We play Winnipeg. By the time we get into Minneapolis and play the Quest, whatever, Prince's Club for First Avenue, the Quest, whatever it's called, we played the show. As soon as we was done, all of our shit's getting pushed into the loadout bay in the back, and our van and trailer pulled in right in time to load the shit out. You know what I mean? Like shit will work out somehow, but you just have to have that faith that like I'm gonna embark on this mission and somehow the shit's gonna work out. You know what I mean? And that's like a nice one. There's so many crazy stories that's like, how did that work out? And somehow it does, man. So you just gotta have that faith, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's funny when I think about, like I was sharing that Ozzfest video thing with you. I have Lorenzo, you know, trying to cut a promo, and it was just a simple line, and he couldn't get it right, you know, because he was just in a different state of mind then. And now he memorizes lines for a living, you know, and what he's doing great, man. He got his shit together.
I'm so happy for Lorenzo. And you know what's funny, man? We'll talk and we joke around. It's like, because I'm sober now for about 6 years. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
you know, he's been sober or whatever, but obviously I didn't drink to the extent that Lorenzo drank back then or whatever.
Yeah.
But now we're like, yo, imagine like we all took it serious, but we were out of our minds and we were young and shit. We're like, imagine now if we were sober back then, they had the mind frame that we have now, and we was exercising and working out and doing the, how many of that motherfucker would make fun of me for exercising back then? He would make fun of me for practicing the bass back then. He'd be drinking a 40, making fun of me.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, you never knew you could have been on anytime from 9 a.m. to like fucking 2 or 3 in the afternoon on that stage with the rotation. And then when you were done, you get ushered over to the Jägermeister tent to do the signing or whatever. And, you know, they would give you a bottle of Jägermeister every day. In fact, there was 2 days that there was like a day they like had to cut us off. And then after the day, we were like, yo, what's up? And then they're like, okay, look, we'll give it to you guys, but don't give Lorenzo any. That lasted for like 4 or 5 days. And then, you know, he was more behaved and went back to normal. But, you know, I'm sure if you're trying to cut a promo at 1 o'clock, the possibilities of him being absolutely cross-eyed at that time was.
Yeah. He was for sure, man. But yeah, dude. And, you know, I mean, like you knew me back in the day too. So it's like, I just celebrated 17 years sober, man. And it's like,
God bless, bro. Congrats, bro.
Thank you, man.
I
It's
never
like,
felt better.
by the grace of God,
better,
man.
Yeah,
What's
I
that?
never felt better.
Yeah, man. It's just like, you know, I mean, like I said at the beginning, it's part of our evolution as men. We've definitely been on a hell of a journey, man. And you know, speaking of that evolution, I want to get to, you know, where you're at today. Let's talk about, you know, now, I mean, Supreme Mystic is your baby. You're in, this is your gig. Talk about putting that together.
Well, yeah, I played music my whole life. From 13 to like 33 or 34 is all I did was play music. You know, I mean, I joined the civilian workforce at 34. I never had a fucking job. And it was like a rude awakening. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, my daughter changed my life. Other circumstances changed my life. But, you know, all I did was play. You know, after Marauder Agents, like every band I kind of seen is kind of like, you know, like I was a member of, or, you know, it was my band or I was a member of type of thing. And then at that point, like I just started to play, like I started writing with the VS because me and Paulie always wanted to jam with each other against me. That kind of started at that time. We had Carl from Earth Crisis singing, and you know, Paulie playing drums, and Eddie Ortiz on guitar and shit. So that was cool. We started preparing, but I ended up playing for Isaac, for Danny Diablo, and that became Scarhead. And then I filled in for Gnostic Front, which is a high honor. I got to fill in for Murphy's Law, which is a high honor. I got to fill in for Madball. I got to fill in for Bulldoze. I got to play for Terror. And I got to play with Mackie and John, you know, the Cro-Mags for 4 years. That was a high honor. You know, just like it never stopped. And then, you know, when everything just stopped, like I remember being like, I'd be like South America or like Australia. I'd be like halfway around the world. And a normal person's comfort zone is, you know, you're at home. You know what I mean? But when you were gone as much as I was gone, that becomes your comfort zone, is the pirate ship. And when you come back and you anchor at bay or whatever, and I was like, yo, what's up? You know, yo, let me get you a drink. And when that shit wears off, you're gone again. And then when I had my daughter, that, you know, things changed. And then it was like, yeah, part of me, I still wanted to go, but then I'm missing home real bad. I'm missing my daughter real bad. And I remember coming home, and she was like 2 years old or something. And I couldn't wait to see her. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see her. She'd be so excited to see me, blah, blah, blah. And I came home, and like she just like didn't know who I was. She just like looked through me like she was not impressed at 2 years old. I'm an impressive guy. You know what I mean? She was not fucking impressed at all. And that's one thing that hit me hard. But I went through a lot of shit, and in particular, my mother got really sick, and then, you know, I'm glad I got to be with her for the last couple of years, that she was alive, and then eventually she left her body, and that was like that was the hardest thing that I've ever been through in my life. And then at the same time, you know, my dog got hit by a car, my aunt died, my grandmother died, Paulie ended up dying. And there's just so much shit, and it hit me real hard. And I went through like a dark phase for, you know, a year or two. And I didn't know what kind of music I liked. I don't know. My whole life was different. And I didn't have music just to turn into as an outlet. Like I always did that my whole life. And I didn't have that. So I kind of had to face myself. And I feel like when something traumatic happens to you in your life, you kind of stop growing. When I was 15, my father was killed. I kind of stopped growing, You know, I'm just an angry kid, man. And I was just like a professional angry kid for a long time in my life. And then I think, you know, having my daughter, I started to grow. My mother's death forced me to start growing. And that's kind of when I found the Vedas and the books of Srila Prabhupada. When I was playing for Mackie and John, I remember that's when I first found Srila Prabhupada's books. And sometimes John would be distributing them on tour and shit. And I started reading them quickly on like the first run I did with them. And I was really impressed because I've always kind of been a seeker, you know, like not everything or everyone has the whole truth, but it's kind of scattered around and kind of take the truth from here and the truth from here. You kind of try to assemble it. But when I started reading Prabhupada's books, I was like, this is everything I ever thought, but beyond. And I would be intrigued. And the more and more I would read it, the more I became convinced that this is undefeatable. This is outstanding. You know what I mean? It's very scientific, in fact. And my father, I grew up in a house with books from the floor to the ceiling. And I inherited my father's book collection. It's overwhelming for me, but it's like sentimental. Like one way I can't get rid of it, but another way, like there's nowhere I can't put all these fucking books in a house on a bookshelf. I'm talking about like 5,000 books. Like I have like a library, you know what I mean? So I remember when I first had access to them, you know, in between touring, I was visiting Detroit because I don't think I was living back here yet at the time. I was like, yo, my dad had to have a book on this somewhere. There's got to be something. And it's uncanny because the second box I put my hand into, I pulled out the Bhagavad Gita as it is, the first English translation, the third pressing from 1973. Of course, my dad something. And I was like, what's the chances of that? And there was a lot of things that happened to me that were like, I guess you could call serendipity, you know what I'm saying? That I was just like, wow. And like the more you become interested, like you kind of take a step forward toward it, but it would take like 100 steps toward me. And through this process, and I kind of became, you know, I was like kind of hurting of everyone's deaths, especially Paul's hit me hard, man. And I went to the temple and I met some people that have changed my life. They're wonderful people, man. The culture is really nice because it's like when you go out in the world here, everyone's trying to exploit you. You know what I mean? Yo, I'm from Detroit, you're from Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? I lived in New York and Jersey. And you know what I mean? You go out in this world, everyone's trying to exploit you. But when I go to the temple, everyone's trying to serve you. And being the cynic that I am, man, I'm always trying to peer behind, you know, where's the scam? Where's the con? Where's the this? And like I've yet to find it here locally. You know what I'm saying? I have not found it in my community. And I started doing Bhakti Viksha class, which is like the informal discussion of the Gita. And we went through the whole thing a couple times. And then my friend Madhu was like, all right, you're real serious about this. Why don't you take the formal study of this, you know? And so I did. And that was a 2-year study. And I became more and more immersed. And eventually I took initiation. You know what I'm saying? And I took my first, and then I took my second initiation, and it's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. It's given me an understanding of the world and of life and of death and what are the questions that we should ask as a human being? What's the ultimate goal of life? What's the perfection of being a human being? You know what I'm saying? Yoga, it means to connect. It means to connect back to the source. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, everything that we do here athletically is so that people can meditate for a very long time. So they can be physically in condition to meditate for a very long time on the ultimate truth. You know what I mean? Of course, everyone in this godless society will take the main thing from the main thing and make it about me and make it about my yoga pants and make it about, look, I can do a handstand, but that's not really what it's about. You know what I'm saying? It's about connecting very, very deeply, man. And I guess in yoga, it's kind of like you become a receiver to the signal that's transmitted in the universe. And when you receive that signal, you know that you got it. A lot of people will make fun of you and say, yo, I don't believe in nothing I can't see, B. Okay, I get that. I got eyes too. But tell me this, do you believe in Wi-Fi? Because we on Wi-Fi right now. It's real. You can't see it. Radio waves are real. You can't see it. You know what I'm saying, bro? Microwaves is real. 5G is real. Fucking the light spectrum, you can't even see 5% of the light spectrum. There's a lot of shit you can't see, man. So mysticism and the occult and things like that is kind of about what is the unseen truth, what lies behind the veil type of thing, man. And I guess the supreme mystic is the seeker on that journey, on that quest, that wants to find what is the ultimate truth, how can it be attained, what is my relation to the ultimate truth, you know what I'm saying? And the supreme mystic himself is the ultimate truth. So
Yeah.
it's been a very deep journey, man, and it's a long thing I can go on and on and on about. But I'm a vegetarian now for many years. I'm straight edge now. You know what I mean? And I don't really get into fights. You know what I mean? Because you just smile and be cool, motherfuckers. And why you got to get in a fight all the time? I mean, I'll defend myself if someone wants to, if someone wants to step up. I got to fight. I'll get down. But you know what I'm saying? You just smile and be cool, bro. You probably won't get in a fight.
Dude, yeah, it's a lot better to be like on that higher frequency than to be on that low vibration, and that angry kid that you used to be. I bet life is easier where you're at today. It's funny because you said a lot that I'm relating to, man. It's like, being a girl dad. I got 2 daughters, and it took me a while to get it right for them, and I'm still trying to get it right, even all these years sober, still trying to be better. And I do like, things with my recovery to grow as a man spiritually. But I just had Don Foose over here recently, and we were talking the same journey, man. And it's like, he got me through. I did this water fast, because I was energy drinks and sugar was killing me, and I needed to break that addiction. And I wanted to make sure I did it before my 17-year anniversary. I wanted to tackle another demon and take it out, and he walked me through this 72-hour water fast. I ended up going, I think 95. And now I have none of those cravings anymore. And I started eating right. I haven't, gone full vegetarian, but he's been good, man. He doesn't judge. He doesn't pressure. He's been somebody that I can lean on, on this journey, and I can relate to like what you were saying. And John Joseph's the one that got him on it,
Yeah, Don's a great dude, man. But it's wild because like these dudes, Don was on that shit back then. You know what I'm saying, bro? And I'd playing with them. I was in my teens playing shows with Don Foose. And I always loved him and always thought they were great, but I wasn't on that. I didn't know what he was saying, or I've been friends with Carl and Earth Crisis my whole life. And I was like, all right, I respect you guys what you do, but I'm going to roast this L and fucking eat a fucking burger or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And, but then they were always cool and not judgmental or whatever. We was always friends and good friends, man. But I didn't get it. Now I'll laugh at Carl and shot, hit him up. But hey, man, I think you guys were onto something. He'll be laughing this shit. You know what I mean? But it's cool. I remember playing. I remember the first time Cold as Life went to Europe, and we were playing with Shelter. We just ended up on a show with them, and I remember going to look for a place to twist up and blaze. And I'm going in this back room. There's a yoga mat. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh, that's Ray Campbell's yoga mat for like yoga. Why does motherfucker bring a mat with it? He's doing yoga in here? I didn't get it. I wanted to go do the dumb shit I was doing. And now I look at it man, I was right next to all these elevated frequencies and dudes, and they were doing the right thing. And it took me so long to even, comprehend what they were throwing down all the way back then. But I guess that the life's a journey, man. We all have realization to get to where we get when we get there. And I guess if you get there, man, and you're making progress in your journey, then that's good for you. Because how many people don't? How many people just do that redundant shit, or they'll just, I'm going to be ignorant till I die, or I'm just going to keep getting high and just croak over here, or I'm going to drink myself. I used to like to have a drink back in the day, but everything affects different people differently. But I see some motherfuckers, their kidneys going, their liver going, their fucking drop dead, their fucking teeth fall out, lose everything. I don't like it that much. It wasn't that much fun, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So, but again, everyone's on their journey, man. And the Vedic perspective is that the universe is so merciful that you basically have as many times you have endless times to get it right. You know what I'm saying? But the more you grow into your attachments, the more you fall down the path of ignorance, the more things that you desire, the more suffering you're causing for yourself. But you have limitless time to figure it out. but maybe we've done this millions of times until at least hopefully one time we'll say, let me spend this life and get it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. And it's like, I like, since I've been on it, I mean, it says in the book that I study for my recovery, that sometimes it happens quickly for some, and sometimes it happens slowly. I'm one of those slower guys, even though haven't drank for a long time, but getting the spiritual aspect of it, has always been, because my ego gets in the way quite a bit. In
Ego's
fact,
a hell of a drug, bro. Ego's a
yeah,
hell of a drug.
and ego kind of like is what, a lot of times it's just to prove to people I got another year sober. It's more ego driven than spiritual. But then running into like some of our friends, that are either my age or younger than me, and then looking, how rough they're looking, and then getting the compliments like, man, you look good. What are you doing? And I'm like, well, I tried to quit poisoning myself as much as possible, so that I let that ego run wild sometimes. But speaking of, I guess this is a good segue for since I'm kind of talking about my own beauty, but let's talk about your single Stealing Beauty. What's the message and inspiration with that song?
Well, so the kind of relating the whole thing to the band is after that point of suffering, after not having music as my immediate go-to, after doing some growing, and then after kind of acquiring and being very interested in this ancient Vedic wisdom and knowledge, all I really know is music. I don't know how to do anything. I'm not good at anything. I'm not even good at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not good at anything, but it's all I really know. So of course I wanted to pick up music, and I actually found myself having that break, or even like having my parameters shattered basically. I found myself more creative than I had ever been, and I found it more fun to write than ever. And I started writing songs and music, and I had an original set of collaborators, but they actually suffered some loss, and we amicably parted ways. We all friends. We got nothing but love for them, and I understand where they at going through it, and they understand that I've come out the other end of what they're going through. You know what I mean? So I wanted to assemble an amazing band. I wanted to get the hardest hitting fucking drummer I could, the Shredmaster Flex ass guitar player I could, keys. I always wanted keys, man. And I've me, bro. I plug my bass in, and I'm at 11, bro. I'm right. I go crazy the whole time. But I started singing, which is a trip. It's a head trip, man. And I owe a lot to Keith Caputo for really helping me out and mentoring me to learn how to get into key, and sharing his warm-ups with me and shit. That it really helped me out a lot. And the main reason was because, well, two things. One, I'm at the point in my life where I can't invest my time into depend on somebody and then have them feel differently 2 or 3 years later and invest all that time. I don't have that time to put in. I have to rely on somebody in that way. And then two, I wanted the music. I mean, music has always been the vehicle for intention and expression, but now I wanted to share this wisdom. It's not just about being like, oh, we angry, we're gonna vent about our anger, we're gonna talk about everything that's wrong with society. It's all true, bro, but what's the solution? You know what I'm saying? What's the goal? Where how can you raise that up? You know what I'm saying, man? So I didn't want to compromise also my elation and the message. So I took upon it to try to sing, which is it's not an easy thing, man. I understand why a lot of singers are bitch ass motherfuckers, bro, because it is some real weird shit. But for me to sing, I got to be at zero, and then I can find my times to kind of get off and do my thing and get down. But then I got to come back to like Zen, man. So it's a different thing for me. But I think like on a performance wise, it's more dynamic, So taking that intention, because intention is everything, bro. It's the whole purpose of what you're doing. It's the whole everything manifests around what is that intention, man. You know what I'm saying? So trying to inject a more positive intention to the band. That's kind of what became the band Supreme Mystic, man. And the whole theme of the record Kala Rupa is that this force of time will annihilate everything that is temporary. Will annihilate everything that's material. Will annihilate every illusion, all ignorance will become completely annihilated through time. You can't outforce it with strength. You can't outsmart it with your brain. You can't fucking, all the money in the world, you cannot buy 1 millisecond back. But actually, time is not your enemy. Time is one of the greatest teachers, and it's pushing you and it's forcing you to grow. Or else you would just be sitting on the couch, yeah, tomorrow. But first, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the idea of the record, man. And the band, I mean, I'm, you know, like Shelter and bands like that, bro, 108, like they very overtly kind of preaching, and I can't believe how well they're able to do it and the success that they have doing it. But for me, it's kind of different, man. It's more about, I want to relate with people on a regular street level and what people can relate to and what we all go through. And, you know, some people might not get deeper than that. They might be cool. They might bob their head. They might dance a little. They might, you know, this is cool. And other people will be like, yo, well, what's that about? What's that about? They'll want go a little deeper. And then some people go all the way like, yo, they'll be interested in the books that we distribute, or they'll be interested in what's Kala Rupa mean, or what, you know what I mean? So there's different layers to it, but in the end, you know, everyone can just enjoy it on the top layer, but there's a deeper thread through the whole thing. For Stealing Beauty is kind of like, we all live in this exploitation mentality, like I, me, mine, everything. You know what I mean? We just like men just like if they say that if there's a bag of rice in the forest, the bird will come take his quota, the rabbit will come take his quota, the ant will take his quota, man will come take the whole fucking bag of rice and don't want to share it with nobody else. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
And we all think like we're so great, but like you didn't create anything. You just remanipulated the things that were already created. A skyscraper, you just moved where the rocks and the concrete and the glass, and you manipulate it to be what it is, but you really didn't make it. It's already created. You just taking it, you know what I mean? So we all have this exploitation mentality, man. And they say that actually the opposite of lust is like actual love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The opposite of exploitation is to serve someone. Like I said, when I go to this temple community, man, it's kind of like, you know, instead of everyone looking at you, how can I exploit you? They're looking at you like, how can I serve you? Or, oh no, please step on me so that you can be higher. You know, and everyone's really happy there. I leave on like, I float on like a cloud 9 for like 2 or 3 days after. You know what I mean? I'll have anxiety going there thinking about motherfucker this and motherfucker that. This motherfucker cut me off, and I'll have anxiety in my heart of it. And the second I get there, bro, it's gone. I feel so good. You know what I mean, man? So Stealing Beauty is kind of about the exploitation mentality, but I'll be real honest, it's the first set of lyrics I started writing for the band. It was the first musical song we wrote, and it's kind of personally a message to my daughter. And maybe she don't understand this now. Maybe she won't understand it while I'm in my body. But even if it's one day that I leave my body, that she understands this post-dated message is, you know, it's a song of empowerment. You know, not to let people exploit you, not to let people take that beautiful thing. I mean, one of the lyrics is, you know, they want to. Well, I'm gonna fuck up my own fucking lyrics, but basically, don't let someone take what's inside you that's beautiful to fill what's empty inside themselves. You know what I'm saying, bro? And to keep that light that you got, and we all got this divine light in us, and keep that shit and protect that shit. You know what I mean? For a devotee, that divine light is bhakti. It's their service. It's their connection to the Supreme. Don't let no one ruin that and take that from you, man, because that's the most beautiful thing you have is you. You know what I'm saying? And this body, as gorgeous as we may be for whatever time is going to take that away from you, bro. You know what I'm saying, man? And your strength and your intelligence is going to be taken away, but what you actually have is yourself, is your consciousness. That's what you are. You know what I mean? This divine spark, this beauty that we all are. That's what, no matter what, that's what goes with you. You go with you. Everything else you leave behind. What's the Cro-Mag lyric, right? You come this world with nothing but yourself, and you leave this world with nothing but yourself. So protect that. And that's what Stealing Beauty is about. Protect that.
Wow, man. See, I love conversations like this, man, because it's like, I know it's like, it's impacting me personally, but I know the listeners are going to get, you know, we could just sit there and we could talk about tour dates and the album, and we're going to get to the course of the tour dates, but you know, it's these real conversations, man, where somebody can hear something and when they're listening and they're like, it could change lives. And I love it. I love the raw conversations like this, man.
I mean, this music shit is really about human expression and connecting with one another. And that's the real goal of doing this. That's why all this AI bullshit and all this, over polishing everything to be perfect bullshit. I don't subscribe to none of it. You know what I'm saying? Wabi-sabi means that which is perfect because it's imperfect. That the rough edges, that Dimebag Darrell or Eddie Van Halen bends the note a little too high because he's really feeling it. And some nerd will be like, that's sharp. Or, Bad Brains will speed a part up or sink down, really bite into that ass of a part. That's what makes the thing amazing. That's human expression, bro. You know what I mean? Someone will live through some pain or someone had this epiphany and they want to share it and convey it and connect. That's what this is about. That's what artistry is about, whatever medium it is, bro. And all this AI shit is like, I mean, the stated goal in the AI book from Eric Schmidt and fucking Henry Kissinger basically says that humans will lose all cognition of how to do independent thinking and ability to do anything. Is that what you want, bro? You know what I'm saying? Is that that's the goal? Fuck that, bro. That is taking your humanity away from you, and you're missing the whole part. So before you go candy cane yourself or do some fucking stupid little AI shit and you use all this water and pollution and all this extra energy that they just gonna send you the bill anyway to do. You know what I'm saying, man? Fuck all that. I don't need that shit, man. I'm a human being, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't got wires, I got veins. I don't got a chip, I got brains. You know what I'm saying, man? So I say be a human being, bro. That this is what it's all about, and all that bullshit you're missing the point, and it's very sad, man. Personality goes a long way. Robots don't got personality, bro. People do.
Yeah, man. I feel you. See, now I'm feeling shameful and guilty for playing on Sora with Jimmy and Mark, Now, I gotta talk about your music video, Halo of Vultures. Let's talk about, that particular song, but putting that video together as well. Cause I remember you were telling me, you guys were just getting ready to do it or finish it when you were in town. I think, when I ran in, you reconnected with you at that I forget what show it was too. But
Yo, that was Life of Agony. So
yeah,
I got a funny story about that. First of all, when I ran into you, dude, I was so happy because like I was coming down there to try to hit up my Cleveland motherfuckers, but like, I've been away for a minute. I've lost so many phones and numbers, and I just started getting on the computer, and I was thinking about you. Like, yo, what happened to Bill, man? I used to see Bill every band I played in, every show. I'd always see Bill. What the fuck happened to Bill? And then I ran right into you there, and I was so happy to see you and get your number, reconnect. So that made my night. But
dude, mine too, brother. Mine too.
Life of Agony was gonna come and play Flint the next night here, like outside Detroit. Flint's like, I don't know, 45 hour away or whatever. So I would normally go see them if they don't play in Detroit here. But I was playing in Chicago the next day, and they were playing the Ugly record. And first of all, I only get to see Joey and fucking and Keith, annually, basically as it is. And they're playing the Ugly record, and we all love River Runs Red, but Ugly's my motherfucking shit. I love that record, bro. And they ain't never done that before. I'm like, yo, I can't miss this shit. I'm still like on some Ugly shit. You know what I'm saying? I still be rocking the shit out of that. I make people fucking sick around me with that shit. So I was like, yo, I'm not missing this. So they're playing Cleveland tonight. I was like, yo, I hit my man Tommy Brock. Shout out to Tommy Brock, my ace boom cool. I hit up Tommy, we got to go to Cleveland and go check this shit out because we're gonna you come with me to Chicago the next day. We'll go to Cleveland, see the show. We'll get back, we'll go sleep, we'll wake up, we'll go to Chicago. He was like, bet, because see, I got to get younger friends because older people is fucking suck and they got responsibility and jobs and kids and shit. You know what I mean? I got to hang out with my younger dudes, bro. Beige don't age, but younger friends keep you fucking young too, right?
Yeah.
So we rushed down there to go see that shit, man. And I was messing with Keith, and they got a routine. They'll go get away, they'll go relax, and then they come back right before the show type of shit. So all right, bet. So I know I'm not gonna see them until they're on stage and after. You know what I mean? So it was packed, and I was trying to get up toward the front or whatever, and it was fucking packed. You know what I mean? So all right, man. So I'm trying to just kind of wiggle my way, trying to get up, and I started getting all these like heavy metal attitudes, man. You know what I mean? It's fucking. I kind of get right to about the front where I want to be to see Keith singing and shit. And this dude's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "What do you mean, where am I going? I'm trying to get through here." "Well, you're not going to stay there." And I was like, "Look, first of all, bro, relax. I'm just trying to get through. Number one. But number two, check it out. I'll go wherever the fuck I want to go." And then he just shut the fuck up. I was like, "All right, let me keep going." I keep going. I go get a little further, and this chick starts at me. She's like, "Yo, where you going? You ain't standing here." And I was like, "No, in fact, I'm standing right fucking here." I got sick of it, whoever. And she proceeded to like booty bump me. Like she just like kept booty bumping me and like to get into her spot. Like I would have just let you get in your spot. Like you know what I mean? I'm not trying to obstruct anyone. I'm just trying to get here to see what I want to see too. You know what I mean? And then of course they came on. They lit it up, man, and they were so cool. And Keith was shouting out songs to me and shit. And then Joey ended up just telling us to come on the stage and get everyone's way. But God, I had such a blast that night or whatever. So
yeah, I apologize for Cleveland.
No. It'd been anywhere you go. It's just
Yeah.
Like metalheads. But Halo of Vultures, that song is interesting, man. I kind of wrote it in my head on the way to rehearsal, and then I was like, let me try this out. And then it just like it became a song in like 3 seconds. It was like one of the dopest but most effortless shits ever. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of bass centered. But the song itself is kind of about ridding yourself of bad association and ridding yourself between them people that, like the lyric is, "I got a halo of vultures swarms above my head. They want to dip their beak in my womb, but I'm not fucking dead." You know what I'm saying, man? It's about all them people around you that, and I also point out in the lyrics that vultures, they're not birds of prey. They're scavengers and bottom feeders. You know what I mean? They're not like a fucking lion or an eagle or a hawk. They're not like a predator. These motherfuckers wait for something to get hurt and then they want to come and fucking feed on it. So it's kind of an analogy for people that I've cut out of my life. You know what I'm saying, man? And the point of it is, to move forward, it's a good idea to cut that weight out of your life, that type of negativity and shit. The video was interesting, man. There's a lot of cool shit in Detroit. First, I got to shout out Aaron Lumsden at Acuro Productions, man. That's my man. We did both videos together, and we actually in collaboration to do a lot of shit in the future on the next cycle coming up. We're gonna do a lot of collaboration, but that dude's wicked behind the camera. And obviously, we was born good looking, not rich, so we don't have like this huge budget for whatever. And but there's so much shit in Detroit that is like eye candy. That there's so much cool shit to. So there's one spot that I scouted out that's like. Actually, I've seen a couple of videos of people going over there and doing shit. You'll always see people over there, but it's just a real cool little fucking wasteland area that they kind of turn into like an art park and like a spot to fucking chill, and there's a lot of graffiti and cool shit around there. So we figured we would do the video there, and I want to shout out my friends. There's a band here called the Cult of Space Skull. And they're wild. It's kind of like on some Guar shit, but like less blood and more like tits and ass type of thing. You know what I mean? But they're fucking awesome. They're very good friends of ours, and we play with them. And there's another band that I love, Sonic Smut. I want to shout them out because they're one of the best bands in Detroit right now. But I had the pleasure of them being our, plague doctor vultures. They got all dressed up and wild, and they were kind of just like the symbol of that negativity. They were like the Nain Rouge or whatever the symbol of negativity is. And we just kind of shot it in a couple hours and put it together. But Aaron's the one who made it look cool and put it all together. But that's all that was. But it's a cool song. It was a cool shoot, and I got a lot of love for both bands, especially coming down and shooting with us. And we had a lot of fun at the shoot. If I could show you the pictures while we was talking, I got some wild pictures from the shoot. But you're just gonna have to go and look this up yourself on YouTube. It's easy to find. And,
yeah, definitely want people to check it out. It's a good video, man. It's funny too, going back to that show with Life of Agony. That was the first time I ever got to have a conversation or meet Keith, and I gave him a shirt from my podcast, and he wore it at Machine Shop the next night.
Hey, that's what's up,
dude. And it was such an honor because, when you go to the Machine Shop, you know, they always take that infamous photo in that hallway, you know, and Minty Pics or whatever there. All the bands get it, and he's wearing my shirt in that, and it was just like, that was awesome. So I'm still trying to get Keith on here. We were talking about it, and then it's just like, you know, I gotta stay consistent and get on about
He'd be a great interview, but I know he just did his solo material tour, which went really, really, really good. I know he's super in a great mood about it, and they got back, so it might be a good time to revisit, hit him up about it, because he might have more time now than before.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure, man.
Awesome guys, and it's always awesome. I mean, the cool thing about hardcore, I mean, some people are gonna be bum outs, or I don't know, maybe I know too much about certain camps that is kind of like, who's real, who you respect, and some people it's kind of like, you kind of say all this shit, but you do all this other shit. But in general, in hardcore, it's cool because people are real, and it's cool that people that you respect musically or on a certain level, but they're real people and they're always willing to connect with you on a real level. I mean, I think really in general, man, because I've gotten to play with bands that I was a fan of as a kid, and I got to tour with a lot of bands that I grew up loving and shit. And for the most part, man, most motherfuckers are pretty cool. I mean, there's a couple people, but most motherfuckers are pretty cool. So that's fortunate.
Yeah, for sure, man. Now, speaking of touring and hitting the road, I know Supreme Mystic's going to be coming back to Ohio for a few dates. We got to plug those, man. So,
all right. So I have put these aside so I can read all the details. All right. So first, we are coming back. So we played one show in Cleveland so far, but I hope to make Cleveland a regular route like it's always been in my life. So we're coming back to No Class, and shout out to Emma No Class, because I haven't been there since Paul owned it. It was Now That's Class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really love what she's done there. She's really made a great community. Everyone loves her, and it is a great spot, man. It takes care of everyone well. So we playing with 10,000 Rambos, which, I mean, you got to admit, Sylvester Stallone in First Blood, I mean, he took on fucking, John Rambo took on the whole police department and the National Guard by himself. So you got 10,000 Rambos, bro. You know what I mean? That take out the whole fucking country and shit. You got 10,000 Rambos, you got Oxjaw, and that's my boy Ben's band, and I guess
Benny.
Their singer's leaving, man. Their singer's, I think, moving to somewhere, so it's gonna be like a good farewell party for them. And we
Fatback's going somewhere, huh? I
think he's going to like Canada or some shit, moving somewhere, man.
No shit, I gotta hit him up.
Yeah, so it'd be good to have a nice celebration and send off for him, proper send off. And we play with X Represent X, who, man, I played with them in however many fucking bands for years ago, and they still around kicking ass, man. So I'm really happy that they're on the bill, man. That's our dudes. We played with them in Erie, and they showed us a lot of love in Erie, and everyone danced really, really hard for us, man. So that's what's up. And then opening the show, I hope I'm gonna say this right, bro. Earworm, but they spell it weird. I think it's Earworm. And I think that they play with 10,000 Rambos. IREWYRM. I think that's supposed to be earworm. So excuse me, because I can't see your fucking ear. But whatever. We playing at No Class Saturday, April 11th. So that's actually our first show this year. And then we're going to be pretty active and pretty busy for the rest of the year. But that's actually our first show this year, man. So really excited about that. And then we're playing Akron, Ohio, which that ain't that far from Cleveland.
No, it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, you old motherfuckers ain't gonna come see me because I was just there in Cleveland. But this lineup to me is like so fucking ill, bro. It's like the Stoner Rock Doom lineup from fucking, I would say from heaven, but I guess from hell. You know what I'm saying? But Fistula, who we actually played with in Cleveland the last time we played there, Fistula is fucking awesome, man. Titans of Mars, we played with them in Kent, man. Them dudes are fucking dope. They are fucking dope. When they played, they like shake. The whole place was shaking when we played with them in Kent, man. They're nasty. Radian, we actually label mates with them on the vinyl side, man. Our vinyl partners put them out, man. And they've been doing a lot. I actually saw that they just played with Acid Bath at the Agora Theater.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, so Radiant's playing. We really psyched to play with them. And Evil Robot, we're gonna play with them again, man. It's such a nasty bill, but that is Friday, May the 8th. and that is at Musica in Akron, Ohio. And then, like I said earlier, Saturday, April 11th, we played at No Class in Cleveland.
Nice, man. Nice, brother. Hey, I have to touch on it real quick too. We were talking about health and staying healthy, man. But I mean, back in since day one, man. What people gotta a reason I think people definitely. I mean, not just the music, but they got to come see you perform live. Is you're still kicking ass, playing bass, and throwing them roundhouse kicks, brother. That impresses the hell out of me. So what's part of your routine to keep that active?
Stretching, bro. I mean, now that I'm old and it's cold, man, you got to stretch, man. So I'm definitely stretching a lot, and I mean, I'm older, things change, man. I used to be able to jump real high, man, and I'm good from up here, dog. And, I'm great from the waist below. I'm great, But in the middle, man, I've gained 20, 25 pound middle age, man, shit, and I fucking hate it. I'm trying to fucking lose that shit, but gaining that weight, tearing my knees apart. My ankle's been broken for fucking 2 years, and I broke it right before our first show. That was great. So it's hard, man. And I remember Craig having the talk with me when he was in his 40s and I was in my 30s, but I wasn't trying to hear him. I was like, BM, why you stop jumping like you used to? And he was trying to explain to me the same shit. And I was like, I didn't want to hear it. Now I'm in my 40s and he's in his 50s, and I'm like, yo, Craig, I get it. Now, I'll still jump. It ain't gonna be, I'm not gonna hit the ceiling no more. Maybe I'll be right here or something like that. But it's definitely a lot less, especially when trying to sing and keep my wind. But I'm still kicking, man. I'm just, push kicks, up down kicks and roundhouse kicks. But I gotta stretch, and I tape my ankle up that I broke. I tape it up before we go on too, just to keep it in place. I don't want that fucking shit to slip. God forbid, man. But I always thought it was cool. I mean, it's useful back in the day at some of the shows we used to play, when things would happen, it could be useful to be able to use your feet when your hands are occupied. But I've always thought it was cool to physically and on a performance side signal certain things that are coming, land on a stop, or everything drops and be able to come around and kick on that stop, or you're going and you want to bring it to a close, and you know what I mean? I always thought that them things were visually impactful on a performance level, man. And
well, definitely
it's always been a part of my thing, and I always worry about space whenever I see a place do I have enough space? Push the amps back an inch more, shove my keyboard player over the side just a little bit more, or whatever it is. But we'll always make best do out of whatever the space that we got, man. And I remember too, Bobby Hamill telling me, I'll tell you two good ones I learned when I was young was Bobby Hamill told me when I was really little, he said, kid, when you got nowhere to go, you always got two places. You can always go up, and you can always go around.
Yeah.
It's true. To this day, it's true. There's nowhere else to go. That's the two places you can go. And he's a living example of that fucking mantra, And I remember always seeing Pete from Sick of It All. He's got one of the greatest stage presence, and he's always moving. God bless Sick of It All, and God bless Lou, and I love them guys, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing Armand and Craig here in a couple weeks. Pete's whole thing was living in apartments. His thing was if they had a 45-minute set and he could go every day and jump rope for 45 minutes, that he knows he can move the full 45 minutes that they play. You know what I mean? So when I go exercise, I'll start off on the elliptical doing cardio, and I will try to do that for at least the length of whatever set time that we're gonna have. I think that's important. You know what I'm saying? But it's tough to do that and think like that and sing, man. Singing is a wild shit. Again, I've never sympathized for why singers are bitch ass niggas so much in my life until now, bro. Because it's true, man. It's a sensitive thing. Someone assaults your guitar playing or your drumming or something. It's well, but your singing it's personal, but it's not easy, and you know what I mean? It takes a lot, man. Your voice can get blown out. You got to breathe. There's just so much shit to it, man. But I think this first record, I was really just trying to get into key and get comfortable. And when we first started doing our first couple shows, sonically as a band, we kicked ass the first note we played. But my singing was awful, especially at the first year. And then the second year started getting a lot better. So this third year, I hope to keep getting better. And I'm trying to learn now how to really, like, when I watch a great singer and they're like singing here, but then they'll like take it out the box. You know, they'll come to that point where they really fucking take it somewhere cool with the key change and shit. So that's what I'm trying to like study and learn now. And I hope that it will be reflected upon on the second, album or the next stuff that we release, the new songs that we're writing. I hope to take the vocals to like to another level.
Awesome, Mike, brother. I always love catching up with you, man. It was an amazing conversation. I love it, dude. For any fans out there that might be new hearing about you guys and want to follow the journey and support you, where would you send them?
So obviously we on Instagram and Facebook, you know what I'm saying? The band Supreme Mystic, and I am, Chino Noir, so you can follow the band or me on Instagram and Facebook will be the main places. I'm probably going to start a TikTok because everyone tells me I need to, but like 2 social medias was enough for me. But I think I'm going to start a TikTok, and we got like an idea of a kind of like a campaign. We're going to run with that. And then there's an EPK. If you go suprememysticepk.com, it kind of tells you the whole thing. Like you can, it'll give you like the bio of the band and of me. It'll give you all the videos. It'll give you all the links to all the streaming shit. It does all that kind of shit. But I mean, obviously the shit's on all streaming platforms, whether it be whack ass Spotify or Apple or YouTube or whatever. This shit's all up and down everywhere. Fucking on Deezer, iHeartRadio, whatever all this shit is. You can go find it in the Matrix. And obviously, we're gonna press a CD and probably do cassettes, but it's been on vinyl, man. The vinyls are almost sold out, and we'll repress a different one. But the first pressing is almost sold out, which is great because the record's only been out a couple months. But to me, when I heard the record on vinyl, man, I felt like I never heard the record. Even being in the studio a million times, listening to a million mixes. When I first had that test pressing and we put it on, I was like, wow, I really felt like that's the first time I heard the record. Nothing sounds better than that fucking vinyl, man. And I'm real glad that people are consuming that way again. And as a kid that like went through the linear notes and all the shit and really like to have something physical, man, I think that it's just a nice thing to have and add to your collection. Put that shit next to Stevie Wonder. Put it between Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I have that conversation on here all the time, man. It's like owning that physical copy and just putting the headphones on and playing it from beginning to end and going on that journey. That was like the closest we got to meditation for some of us back in the day, so
absolutely
good to have that, man.
It was an exciting way to go, like I mean, how many records did we kind of get just based off the cover back in the day, or just someone was coming to town and you want to check it out? It was more mysterious and intriguing now than it's just like pump and dump shit like penny stocks now. And you hear someone hears 2 or 3 songs of a record and you don't really hear the rest of it. And it's everything has its plus and minuses. It's like a knife. A knife isn't good or bad. You know what I mean? If an expert chef can feed a village, an expert doctor can save your life in surgery, but you put in the hands of a psychotic mass murderer, bro, you'll fuck everyone up and kill your ass and cut your throat. You know what I mean? So the technology itself, things are oversaturated. Everyone thinks that they're going to be in a band, and every fucking dude can do Dr. Seuss rhymes as an MC and shit. But there is a lot of good music. There is a lot of good things that's going on. There's a lot of innovating things going on. So if you can kind of rise above the oversaturation or use it to find things, and then once you find something to latch onto it, man, I guess we'll have to make the best use of a bad bargain.
Amen. Brother, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you when you're in town. One last favor before I let you go. You mind cutting a promo ID for the show? Just introduce yourself, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Today's Boondoggle?
Yeah.
Did you do it now?
Yeah, whenever you're good.
Yo, what's good? This is Chino Noir from Supreme Mystic, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle. Booyah.
Awesome. This was nothing like Ozzfest. You nailed it.
Well, we're not cross-eyed at 1 p.m. now, you know what I mean? So
Exactly, man. All right, brother. I love you. Thanks for the conversation as always.
I love you too, brother. All my love and respect, man. And I'll see you in a couple weeks, brother.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Peace, bro.
Alright! Listen up! Hold on to your seats! Grab your girls, grab your beers!
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on